com. Today we are talking about automation, which is really such a key thing in the online business space because we could be having people buy our course at any time of the day or night, and we don't always necessarily are awake even to make sure that they get it and do all the little nitty-gritty things that need to happen behind the scenes to sell and give them access. I'm very excited to have Sophie Riley join us today to talk about automation. She is the automation queen. Sophie, introduce yourself to everybody who's watching this live and in our replay of the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samantha. Hi, everyone. So my name is Sophie Riley, obviously, but um, in very small detail about me, I am the co-founder of the VIP Hub, which is an all-in-one marketing tool platform. Awesome. But what I'm really passionate about is the automation. What I'm passionate about is bringing you towards a passive income, and it's stop working so hard and enjoy the sun, enjoy some time off, and start building that income. And like Samantha says, in your sleep. So this is what I specialize in. Maybe I see sometimes where things can be automated where other people don't, but I love just by automating a few things into my business, I save at least 100 hours a month, which allows me to do literally anything else.
Yeah.
Anything else. The summer's coming. The winter was super crappy here in Canada, so this girl's gonna be outside enjoying the summer.
Yeah.
Yes, and yeah,
I love
right.
that. Yeah, no, I love it. And I think, nothing is truly passive, but when you automate things, you find more time. And I think that's the key. You find more time to do other things. And technology is here and it can be used in a way to give us more time freedom. So why not? Now, I do want to talk about automation because I know you love to talk about it. You're actually hosting a summit coming up called the Freedom Summit, and you're speaking on automation. I would love to hear why automation is so important to getting that time freedom and really just, we're going to talk in a little bit for those of you who are watching this in a couple minutes. We're going to talk about the top 3 automations for online courses, creating, hosting, selling, all those things, the top 3 ones that get missed. Sophie's going to be giving tips about that. But Sophie, let's just talk about automation in general because people are scared of the tech. It can seem like a lot of work to set it up. So why automation? I know you're talking about this at the Freedom Summit. Tell me kind of what you're talking about, and really tell me about the summit too while we're talking about it.
Yes, you know what? The summit and my vision, my idea of automation kind of comes together. The thing is, when you automate certain things, it creates a mental freedom, right? So when you don't want to be thinking every single time someone enters your world, someone purchase a course from you, someone purchase anything from you, you don't want to be thinking, okay, now I have to do XYZ. Every time I make a sale, I have to make sure they get access. I have to make sure that they complete the course. I have to make sure that they're good to go. I have to make sure that they do results. This part is overwhelming. If you always have these thoughts in your head that are running, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. It's overwhelming. And this tends to be the thoughts that are going to prevent us from actually getting some clients. So, automation for me is something that creates a mental freedom for me to think about the things that actually matters and that actually going to move my business forward and allow me to scale in a way that is less stressful, because we've all been there when we're trying to scale but we still have so much to do, it almost feels impossible. So it's that mental freedom, it's that time freedom that you get from automating. Now, an automation does not have to be techy and it does not have to be complicated when you get started, but you cannot scale a business if you're going techless. If you don't want to do any tech,
Yeah.
the reality is, I am not going to lie to you and tell you that it's possible, because it's not. If you really truly want to scale a business, you can't do it without the tech. So I want to say first, tech is overwhelming. Tech is overwhelming even for me, who's sort of the expert on tech. I am always overwhelmed when I go into a new
Yeah.
platform. I
Yeah.
just gonna admit it right here. Right?
Natural.
It
Yeah.
takes practice. So I feel overwhelmed every time I go into a platform. So if you go into a platform and you're trying to automate little things and you're feeling overwhelmed, I feel ya. I
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I am there.
We all feel that way.
Right? So for me, an automation is also a process. If you know and you're confident in your process and you know how to get from point A to point B, you're not going to feel the overwhelm. You're not going to procrastinate because you don't know how to get there, right? You're in your kitchen and you're making a recipe. Then one recipe that truly scares me, and I don't know why. I don't know why it's a lasagna. I have never made a lasagna from scratch. And I don't know why, right? But the reality is now if I get a recipe, okay, so it's going to take a little bit more of the overwhelm and I'm going to follow the step, but it's still a little fuzzy because I haven't done it yet. But once I get
Yeah.
through making that lasagna successfully, I'm willing to bet I'm not going to be as overwhelmed because I'm going to have gone through the process. And now I don't have to overthink, you know, is it going to be cooked? Is it going to be burnt? With my abilities of cooking, probably both.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I hear
but
you.
you see how right? You see how the process becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Because the thing is when we don't know how to do something, we don't do it. We procrastinate. So mental freedom, time freedom is what an automation brings. So the Freedom Summit basically brings all sorts of entrepreneurs to help you create the freedom, whether you need to unlock and get unstuck, right? So their mindset, tons of trick to get you unstuck, moving, and back to a productive state. Or if you need to learn some strategies, like Samantha, is going to teach us how we can leverage other people's audience and not be at the mercy of social media. I love all of this. So many strategies that you're going to learn and that you're going to have to decide which one is best for me and my business, and then you can start to create that freedom that you crave.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you said too is that it we only have so much brain width, right? We only have so much mental capacity, and this automation really helps. I was reading something, a while back, but it was actually talking about Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook, and the whole hoodies thing, right? And people are always coming down on how he wears like a t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever. But somebody was comparing it to, Steve Jobs's turtleneck, right? They get up in the morning, they wear the same clothes. It actually frees up their space in their brain to be focused on the things that they need to focus on, right? Because they're not thinking about what am I going to wear today. They don't spend 15 minutes standing looking at the closet, thinking about it. Maybe that's a guy thing, maybe it's not. But for me, I kind of went, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I was like, okay, so my wardrobe is a pair of jeans, a graphic t-shirt, and a blazer. I'm done, right? Of course, this was pre-pandemic, before we were all hanging out in our pajama bottoms with dressed up tops on the top because we were all on Zoom calls. But it really frees up that mental space. So I thought that was, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. And then when we look at it from the perspective as well, that there's so many little things that need to be done that we can't necessarily do if I'm in the Eastern Standard Time and somebody buys my course at 2 a.m. because they're in this Pacific Standard Time and it's only like whatever time it is there. I can't do all of that at that time, and automation can really help me with that. So there's a couple of different powerful things there. And yeah, the Freedom Summit, right? It's not just automation we're talking about. We're talking about freedom in so many different elements and really diving into that because, of course, freedom is your passion, right? That time freedom that automation gives. So I'm going to put the link up here on the screen again for everybody who wants to grab their free ticket. It all starts on May 23rd. The link is right there. So make sure you grab your ticket. If you're watching the replay of the show, then by all means, we're going to put this in the chat, in the description section. Now, for the course creators who are tuning into the show, let's talk about the top three. Let's say three. We don't want to give them too many because that can be really overwhelming, as we all know when we watch these kinds of videos. Let's talk about the top 3 ways to automate the creating, hosting, selling, those top three that you see get missed all the time by the course creators that you're helping in your business. What are we missing in terms of automation?
Yes. Okay. So, first off, I want to say the obvious. The obvious one is when someone purchases your course, you need that automation to simply for them to get an email with that says, welcome, so excited you're here.
Yeah.
Here's how you access your course. If you are like me, you don't want to wait. If you spent money, if I go shopping for a new pair of shoes, I'm trying those shoes and I'm wearing them on the way home.
Right. If I
Right?
can. Yeah.
Absolutely. Um, right? So they purchase your course and they're excited. And it's so important that we don't lose that excitement, that they're so excited. And chances are they're already ready to log in
Yeah.
and to get started on this onto the course. So your first automation to set up is really that first initial contact. You want them to receive the details as soon and as fast as possible. So you automate these um, so that you don't like. I spent the whole day on the couch yesterday because I got sick with a stomach bug. Things
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. Life happens. My kids get sick, my husband, and tons of things can happen. And those are the little things that you don't want to be stressing over.
Yeah.
So the first thing you automate, right? So depending on the system that you use, I will say that most system will have an automation already built in so that you're able to send them, their login information.
Hmm.
So that is my first one. Now, my second one, and keep in mind that you don't have to automate all the things at the same time. For every 1 minute that you spend automating your business, you save 1 hour. It is okay to say, okay, I'm going to automate one thing every month. That's 12 things. That is a
Yeah.
lot of automation into a business, and it's a lot better than trying to figure it all at once. Baby steps is amazing, and it will make your business grow a whole lot faster. I promise. So the
I think
second thing,
Yeah, no, and I think that I think the key in that, guys, is what in what you're saying is, for the first one, for the first step, that automatic, like, hey, here's how you find your stuff. It's not just about making it easier for you. It's also managing expectations, and our audience and our buyers expect to get automated. They expect to get it right away, right? That's the expectation. But I think the other thing you said is that you can do it in chunks, right? So you can work through it over time. And this is really key, because because your brain works a certain way and you're like, hey, this automation makes sense to me, doesn't mean that the user experience is going to be the same. And if Apple and Steve Jobs has taught us anything, the user experience is the most important thing. And how do we make that super easy? And so that's something you're going to learn over time. So I absolutely love that you touched on that in number one. Now tell us all about number two.
okay, so, and it's actually one of my favorite, and it's to have a completion goal workflow. What does that mean? Okay, so I've registered to your course and it's amazing. Celebrate, do your happy dance, but your task is not done. Your goal is to help everybody that purchased your course, and to help them finish the course, because what
Yeah,
that does,
exactly.
it brings you more testimonials. It brings them better result because they've actually gone through the course.
Exactly.
And this is huge for if you're looking into eventually starting maybe an affiliate program with your course. It's really important that people that you take on as an affiliate have completed that program. So a
Yes.
completion goal workflow, right?
Mhm.
So this is where you send a series of emails after they have purchased your course. This can look like maybe once a week. So let's say that your course could take 3 months. Realistically, could take 3 months. I would send one email per week, sort of highlighting the important things into the course, creating a little bit of motivation. But then again, if I was just starting, I'd probably do one email every 2 weeks, and that would be okay. But you want to keep showing up. You know, when they say that you need to follow X amount of time on someone before they purchase, it doesn't mean like the hey girl message 7 times, did you purchase, did you purchase? But it just means that you have to appear in their life in some type of form
Yeah.
and remind them that you exist, remind them that the course is there, because life gets busy and sometimes we forget. There's just the reality of the thing. So you want to keep a presence into their life, and that also makes them feel really, really special. They're not just a purchase, they're actually important to you, to your business, and it shows that you care. It shows that you care.
Mhm.
So I love these little types of automation, which you can personalize as much as you want as well, depending on the type of information that you got from the person that purchased the course. So
Yeah.
your second goal, once they have purchased, is to help them complete it. And I know that we all have limited resources, so by automating most of that process, if not all, you're helping your customers, you're helping your business grows. So yeah, that is actually one of my favorite one, because I'm not gonna lie, I am like a little squirrel, some adult
Yeah.
ADHD, and some things. I purchase a course, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that next week, and
Yeah. And I
I
think
forget.
that that's where the statistic in the online course, I don't know if you know this, but the completion rate in terms of the online course industry statistic that we know right now is 3% because these automations are getting missed. And when I work with my clients, I always say, don't just create that course, sell it and make the reason we're selling it is to have the impact to help our audience and our buyers to get those results. And that means having this kind of automation that Sophie's talking about in place to make sure that your course completion rate is not the industry standard, but it's actually higher. You're actually in that 97% instead of that 3% of completion. So I think that this is so important. And I think one of the things you said is, if you think your course is going to take 3 months, then you're going to send this many, or maybe send one a week, twice a week, whatever. These are things you guys have to try out. There is no like magic bullet. There's no like, here's the answer. This is how Sophie's going to tell you, send one out every week. You have to look at your course and say, all right, there's 12 modules. Let's say they do one a week. I'm going to send out an email once a week. I'm going to send out an email twice a week. These are the things that you have to just go with your gut, know your audience, and say, hey, this is what I'm going to try. And then I'm going to track it, right? Because no automation works without tracking. You got to make sure that it works, right, Sophie?
Yes, it's
Absolutely.
there is no one answers in the
Yeah.
entrepreneur world. There is none. We are not the same person. We don't have the same business. We don't have the same audience. Everybody is different. So no one can give you the one answer that you're looking for. But looking at those numbers every single month is key in knowing what works, what doesn't work. When I send emails on a Monday, nobody reads them. When I send them on a Tuesday, they do a lot better by 50%. Those are the numbers that you need to look at in order to see what works best for you and for your business.
Absolutely. So let's talk about tip number 3 that you have for us. What is the, or not tip, sorry, but like the number 3 spot that is getting missed and your tip for it.
Well, most people don't set up what happened after they complete the course, right? So the
Yeah.
relationship is not over, and most systems will allow you to create a sequence once they have. So it's not something that you have to go sort of stalk them online to see where they're at in the course. It's something that can be done automatically once they have finished the course. So there's two options. You can have, I would probably have both, but you can have one as soon as they complete the course. This is the happy dance,
Yeah.
what's coming next. But you can also have one for, okay, it's been 3 months and they should have been done. So I'm still going to send them like a what's next sequence. I don't want to end the relationship. I want to continue. 20% of the people that I've already purchased from you will purchase from you again. So what's the next step? Would you like to offer them? I personally will only offer affiliate if they've completed the course, and it works well for me. And it's okay if you do it differently, but
Sure.
do you want to offer them an affiliated link to sell this course to help you keep, promoting this course without promoting it, right? You're affiliate. So you work, is that is the goal in the passive income. Would
Mhm.
you like for them to fill a survey? Would you like to hear all about how they found the course? Is there something that,
Mhm.
maybe we can do a little bit better? Some of the question that I love to ask is why didn't you almost sign up? Like why were you on the fence? Right?
Mhm.
What are your results? Where were you then? Where are you now? How has this course directly impacted you in your life? Um, and why would you recommend this course to anyone else? And
Mhm.
those are huge. Those are awesome to put into your testimonials. And of course, like, how can I serve you better? What else do you need? That type of things.
Yeah.
So a survey definitely is on my top list of what's after. And then what's after for you. So if you don't have another course to offer, that's okay. Where can
Mhm.
we continue the relationship? Is it a Facebook group? Is it a podcast? Is it a YouTube channel? I wouldn't say like go follow me into these 100 places. I would say bring them to the one place you're trying to grow at that time.
Mhm.
Where can you continue the relationship? And if you have something else to offer, if you offer one-on-one service and they've completed the course, those are probably your gold nuggets, the people that you would like for them to apply to work with you because they've completed the course. They did the
Yes.
work. It's nothing like taking a one-on-one client and they're not planning on doing anything. So this would be my last tip. It's what comes next. How do we keep the relationship flowing and alive?
Yeah, and I love that. When I work with my clients, I always say, you want to always be thinking about what do you want them to do next. I think some of the key things that you pointed out in there is that when you have a survey, some of the questions that Sophie brought up are the market research questions that if you don't know what they need next, if they tell you that they need X, now you know what to create. There's nothing worse than trying to create a bunch of stuff because you think this is what they want and then it doesn't sell, right? You've got to get out there and talk to them. You got to get on the phone with them. You've got to have polls on your social media. You've got to have survey questions like this to ask them what they need. Because one of the things that I teach my course creator clients, Sophie, is that your customer is going from A to B and you fit into that journey somehow. Your course cannot teach them everything. If you try to teach them everything, you're throwing the kitchen sink at them, you are going to land in that 3% industry standard completion rate. That's why it's so low,
Too
is because,
overwhelming.
right? Yeah. And that's why the completion rate is so low because so many people are out there going, yeah, you create the course and they'll take it and put everything into the course. And no, it's too much. And that's the other reason you want to set up this kind of this automation that Sophie's talking about at the end, because this is where you continue the relationship. You move them to that next offer that's going to help them continue the journey on this transformation, right? And the other thing that you said that I think was so important is you're preparing them for that one-on-one work, because eventually for them to complete this A to B journey, for them to get to B, there's going to need to be some personalization. And so how do we prepare them for that one-on-one journey in our course? Now,
Yeah.
before we wrap it up, I do want to know, because when we are looking at tech, which, as you said, this is where automation lives, one of the things I always say is you got to look at the integrations. You got to look at the integrations, and the integration is where the automation that Sophie is talking about lives, because this is two softwares talking to each other, and this is how we can start automating. I'd love to know your thoughts, though, on that straight automation where the two softwares are talking to each other directly versus something like Zapier, which is a third party that gets in the middle of the two softwares, and it makes them all talk together. What are your thoughts? When we're thinking about automation, is something like Zapier worth it, or is it better to try as much as possible to get two things that just talk directly to each other?
That's an awesome question. Um, Things that talk, the problem with an in-between app is that now I have three possible tech problems.
Mhm.
I'm going to take
Agreed.
Flowdesk, which is an email marketing, and ClickFunnels as an example because the two don't talk.
Mhm.
So we tend to we hear about this platform from someone, they've been recommended. So we kind of just jump in on recommendation because there's so many. All good. I have been there. I have done that
Yeah.
several times. But then you realize that the two don't talk, and this is where you can add Zapier, the in between. So now you have to make sure your ClickFunnels is working, your Flowdesk is working, and you also have to make sure that your in between automation is working as well. It works perfectly fine, but it would be my opinion that there's so many better solution. So
Mhm.
sometimes we don't use the tech to its full potential. And when you look at a tech, don't just look at what do I need it for right now, but look at a tech as to what's my goal this year, right? So
Mhm.
if your goal this year is to run big summits, and you decide to go with Flowdesk and ClickFunnel, well, your bill is going to be an extra few $100s just because your tech didn't talk to each other.
Yeah.
So that is something that we don't necessarily think about when we come to, automating. So the more that a tech talk to each other, the better. The more that a tech does within like just that one platform, is even better. The automation that you can do are completely endless.
Yeah.
Conquer the world. It's yours. So it's not that it doesn't work, but you have to be realistic as to how you're going to use it. How much more is it costing you to not learn the a better platform perhaps for you?
Yeah, and I love when I talk about the tech, and I do have an online course tech guide for $7 for those of you who are here. The link's up on the screen right now. I talk about exactly what you just said. You need it to have room to grow. You want it to integrate. You want it to either replace something that you're already doing or talk to the other things with ease without something like Zapier. I'm not really a fan of Zapier because the Zaps don't always work. You're throwing an extra piece in there that you may not necessarily need. And also you want to, take a look. I always say also, you talked about the bill, right? Take a look at the hosting fees and the merchant fees because they're inevitable, right? So what does this mean? Or the fees to use the platform. Now, as we're wrapping up, we are talking about the automation. We talked a little bit, we started with the power of automation and how it frees up time. And that's where you kind of get this time freedom. You start to see, nothing is truly passive, but the more time freedom you can gain for yourself, the more you can do the things that you want to do while things are making money in the background, right? The closer you can get to passive income, I'll say. So let's talk a little bit about the Freedom Summit that's coming up. It starts May 23rd because this is not the only automation is not the only thing you can do to get more freedom in your life. So let's talk about some of the other topics. I'm talking about my signature chat, how to borrow other people's audiences. This is all about leveraging and driving traffic without having to do all the work. Let's talk about what else is going to be shared at
Yes.
this summit.
So I'm sure you've heard before. It's a model from Clay Clinton. I'm hoping I got the name right. One target market, one product, right?
Mhm, mhm.
One conversion tool, one. How am I blinking right here? It's like my favorite.
One lead generator, right? One lead generator, one, right?
So
Streamlining
you're
it.
concentrating on one thing. If you're
Yeah,
concentrating on one thing, not a million, just the one in each of those categories, your business is going to grow. So we're obviously going to touch about every single one of them to allow you to pick the best one for you. So we're going to make sure that you have one target market, one niche, right?
yeah,
We're going to make sure that you have one product, that you have one one product to fix this one problem, not a
yeah,
million. If you're looking to scale and to free up some time, this is truly the best thing. You have limited resources, you have limited time. It is so important that you concentrate onto like your main one before you can scale, which then allows you to set up those automation. We're going to make sure that you have one conversion tools. What that means is that you have one way that you're going to bring in clients. Is it a sales calls? Is it a webinar? We're going to
Sure.
talk about that, right? So we're going to make sure that you can pick the right one for you. We're going to make sure that you have the one way of building your audience. Samantha is actually going to be talking about my absolute favorite.
Yeah.
It is the best, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
not biased or anything.
Yeah. Well,
So,
they know it. They know it's my favorite.
yes, one, it is how I grow my audience exponentially as well. So, obviously, I love it. So, you're going to pick your one way to grow your audience. You're going to stick to it for 1 year. We're going to cover it all during the summit, as well as the automation that you can put in place to get some more time back, some more mental freedom, as well as a lot of that mindset that comes into, right? Because sometimes we
Yeah.
feel blocked. And the reason why I add all of these, expert in mindsets, I don't know if anybody's been into my shoes, but I started in the MLM businesses and
Mhm.
I was told to just fix my mindset. Okay, but what the fork does that mean? What does it mean to
Yeah.
fix?
Right.
I am motivated. I am doing all the hard work. I am doing all of this.
Mhm.
So once it's finally clicked, when somebody actually explained it, that your thoughts brings on a feeling, that feeling brings on the action gives you a result, and the result reinforces that thought, but most of them are automated. That's sort of where I keyed in to this
Mhm.
whole mindset thing. So I don't want to just tell you to fix your mindset. We're going to break it all down into baby steps on how you can do that and maybe coach yourself through some procrastination, some self-talk, that type
Yeah.
of stuff. So that
Or
is
the
the
tech
whole.
block, right?
Yes.
Some of us, the mindset problem is like, oh, I'm not techie. I can't do this. So that could be part of it. Yep.
Yes, if you're a not techie and you feel like you can't do this, you just come have a chat.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. I love that. And so, what I want everybody to do is grab your free ticket to the Freedom Summit. It's starting on May 23rd. The link is right there. Join me. Sophie, how many other speakers do we have? You've got a great lineup. How many other speakers are there?
We have 40.
Yeah, we have 40, and it's going to be an awesome session, whether you're watching the videos or they're playing in the background while you're working. However it is, show up and learn, because I always have something that I'm learning every single week, a challenge, a summit that I'm listening to, a podcast season that I'm going through, because it just helps me expand my mind as I'm going. And as you said, mindset is so important. Thank you so much, Sophie, for joining me on this episode. I've had a blast chatting with you, and I love everything that you've said about automation. It really aligns with, for the audience watching, my audience watching, they're like, yeah, we've heard Samantha say this. And it's always nice to dive even deeper into it and talk a little bit even more about specific areas of how to create, host, and sell your course. So thank you so much. In addition to the Freedom Summit, where else can the audience continue to follow the Queen of Automation to get some help with this?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at Sophie_C_Riley. You can also check my website out, www.sophieriley.ca.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody else. If you are joining us live or watching this on the replay, don't hesitate to let us know what your number one automation tool that you love is right here in the comment section. Have a great rest of your day.